Okay, people, so The Order. This is the new film from Justin Kurzel. I feel it's Kurzel. Yeah, I think Justin Kurzel. Um, it is written by Zach Baylin. The film is produced by Jude Law, Justin Kurzel, Brian Hass, Stuart Ford. It's executive produced by Zach Baylin, Alistair Burlington, Stephen Foose, Zach Garrett, Ben Jackson, Sean Patrick O'Reilly, Miguel Palos, Gary Raskin, Eric Reblakin, Jeremy Saulnier, Kate Suzman, and Anat Tamarissa. It's co-executive produced by Paul Weinberg and Charlie Doombeck. Yeah. Jed Kurzel took care of the music. Adam Arkapour is on cinematography. Nick Fenton edits the piece, while casting was handled by Avi Kaufman and Rhonda Fiske. Karen Murphy's production design. Art direction, we have Justin Ludwig and Dale Marushki. Ryan Watson is set decoration. Costume design is Rachel Dania Best. Got hair, makeup, prosthetics, David Tranner, Sharon Tui, Michelle Suffolk Walsh, Gunther Shetterer, Ashley Goddick, Chantel Capri, Eva Bulaki, and Carly Aldous. The cast. Okay, so we have got Terry Husk, played by Jude Law. There is boy, it's a terrible layout. Jamie Bowen, played by Ty Sheridan. Okay, so his wife Kimmy is played by Morgan Holmstrom. Their son Willie, played by Ryan Chandor Wesley. There is Joanne Carney, a colleague of Husk, played by Jumi Smollett. Okay, so we've got Alan Berg, played by Mark Maron. Hold on, let me go here. I feel it's probably laid out better. Dum dum dum. Yeah. Who else do we have? Then there's Bob Matthews, played by Nicholas Hoult. Right? Matthews' wife, Debbie, played by Alison Oliver. There's also Matthew's lover, Zilla Craig, played by Odessa Young. We have his son by his wife, Clinton Matthews, played by Huxley Fisher. There's Bruce Pierce, played by Sebastian Pigot. David Lane, played by Philip Forrest Luetsky. Tony Torres, played by Matthias Lucas. Gary Yarborough, played by George Torkatov. Richard Butler, played by Victor Slek. Loffingham, the sheriff, played by Philip Granger. Walter West, who we see at the very beginning, played by Daniel Duhooney. So I think that's probably our main group of people, right? The gist of the story is... Where do we have this? Okay, it's very weird. I had the synopsis and the synopsis vanished. Alright, let's go here. A series of bank robberies. Where are we? Yeah, a series of bank robberies and car heists frightened communities in the Pacific Northwest. A lone FBI agent believes that the crimes were not the work of financially motivated criminals, but rather a group of dangerous domestic terrorists. So yeah, all of this is based on a book, right? It's The Silent Brotherhood, which was written by Kevin Flynn and Gary Gerhardt. Yeah, like, it's, fundamentally, like, a well put together film, right? We have solid performances from Law, Hoult, Smollett, everyone involved. They're pretty solid. Mark Maron is Mark Maron, essentially. Yeah, all of that, it works, right? We start off with Maron's character, right? Alan Berg on the his radio station, talking to a caller who's got anti-Semitic views. So we have this, and it seems like Berg has a lot of these calls, a lot of these type of interactions. So we have this, and then we've got three men driving, right? I think it was Gary Yarborough, Bruce Pierce, sorry. Sebastian Pigott, and Walter West, right, driving out into the woods. They're going to a meeting, supposedly, right? That's what West believes, that they're meeting the big boss, you know what I mean? Bob Matthews. But it's all a setup, right? It's all a setup, which... I'm kind of like, yo, if people are like, oh, we got to go into the wood for some weird, a random reason, like we've never done this shit before. And then they're like, yeah, we got to, I'll be like, I don't know about that. You know what? I'm washing my hair. I ain't coming, right? It just felt so bait. But yeah, they lure him out in the woods. Boom. Shoot him. So we have this, and then we're with Jude Law's character as he's like traveling up, goes into this office that looks like it's not been used in forever, which it hasn't, right? And yeah, that's our kind of introduction to the film and looking at like these relevant people involved, which is all fine, right? I think you have a pretty good understanding of where this is going. Also, in this beginning bit, we have a bank robbery, right? We have a bank robbery, and we also then have, Husk going to the sheriff's office. And all of these things tell us a lot, right? I mean, we get the sense that the sheriff's office could well have been in the pocket, right, of our Aryan nation. Or just, maybe not in the pocket, but maybe carrying some of the beliefs of them. And it's not until, we've got, what was homie's name? Again, it's Jamie. Jamie gets involved, He gets involved, and you can see the sheriff doesn't really want him to. Like, none of this is spoilers. It literally happens at the very start of the film, right? So we're seeing these characters and, how they move, right? I think you've got a feeling about Mark Maron's character, right? You kind of see where that story arc is going. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Also, Ty Sheridan's character, I feel you can clearly see where that shit's going. I mean, all of these, like Terry, like, what's going to happen, right? What's happening with all of these characters, which is a bit like, give me something, right? We've got Jude Law at the start on the phone to his, it seems like his wife, talking about the family coming up to join him. It feels like there's some friction, but we have no clue where. It's a storyline that kind of goes, well, it doesn't kind of, it just goes nowhere. And we have a few of these, right? These plot points that go nowhere, right? We've got Bob. He's got a wife. He's got a mistress. Doesn't really go anywhere. Doesn't go anywhere, And you're just kind of like, it's a story that it feels like it could have been something really, really interesting. You know what I mean? Something like, like Serafina Falls, or like, you know what I mean? It's gritty, hard hitting. The Destroyer, that Nicole Kidman film from a few years back, right? Like, it feels like it could have been something really, really compelling. But what we get is this, okay, it's fine, right? It's not offensive, but it's not going to set the world on fire. I don't think you're going to finish watching this film and be like, yo, I need to talk about this with my peoples, right? I mean, I guess the only thing you might be wondering about is, did you hear about this? You know what I mean? Like, because I knew nothing about this. Because it's based on a true story, right? I knew nothing about this. So I feel that's the main thing, where it'd be like, yo, and especially if it's people that live in that area, that state, you might be like, oh, did you remember this? Like, do you recall this story? You know what I mean? Because otherwise, there's not anything from a character where you're like, oh man, that was so powerful. That was incredible. We've got the typical things, right? Police people like shouting at everyone, being like, we need to solve the case. Like, why aren't you taking this seriously? You need to do this, blah, 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 blah. There's a bit in the film early on with, Bowen's character, right? And you're just like, okay, but why? You like, is there something here? Because he's a sheriff, right? So you're assuming he's seen some things, dealt with some things. But it's just like, okay, so what was that incident about? But nowhere. Goes nowhere. And that's the weird thing. We have these things that could be built on. No. Right? We just know that Husk, he's worked on these high profile cases. Right? He reveals something that happened in one of these cases. Right? That's why he's come to this spot. But you'd think that and like the family situation could, build into his character, but it doesn't really. It doesn't really. He does some off the book things, but it's like, just that standard stuff you always see in police films. It'd be like, oh, he hasn't called for backup right away. Oh, he's running up. You know what I mean? It's just that standard shit. But you're not really, the film doesn't paint the picture, right? It's not drawing you into this fascinating story that's like real. These are real events, supposedly. It's always like, did it actually happen like this? You know what I mean? Like, who knows? But yeah, a justification for some of the actions. Like the police and the FBI do come off as kind of witless in places. So it's just like, okay, why approach it in that way? What's the thought process here? We don't get any of that. And that's a shame. That's a shame. I actually missed this when it was in the cinema. Came out on Boxing Day over here in the UK. And I ain't mad. You know what I mean? Like, I just think it's one of those that, yeah, it's kind of made for watching at home. It's not a cinema. You don't need that cinema experience for this film, it feels like. You know what I mean? But I think if you like stuff like Sleeping Dogs, right? If you like stuff like that, then I think, you might enjoy The Order, right? It's not breaking any ground, It's not going to dazzle, it's not going to win awards, but it's just one of them films. So yeah, if you like Sleeping Dogs, if you liked Boneyard, I think some people must have, you know what I mean? Like those kind of films. Jury Number 2, if those lit you up, then people go check The Order. I saw it in Prime, but I'm assuming it's available on all VODs. So yeah, The Order.